So we've got 3 matches on the Sunday ticket, and I'll also be doing a quick roundup of the final game, the Monday night fixture. But let's start off with the game at Old Trafford on Sunday, Manchester United against Watford. Not too long ago, Watford got the better of United at Vicarage Road, and it was a dreadful performance by the Red Devils. They didn't start too cleverly at home to Watford. Watford having all the early pressure. They did get into the game a little bit, but definitely Watford looked the more threatening. Decore had a half chance on 13 minutes and 17 minutes. First real effort for United across from the left that Foster flapped at, and he sort of pushed it away to the right side of the penalty box. Wan-Bissaka arrived, but he hit the side netting. 27 minutes, Martial blast high, went in a good position, and a couple of minutes later, Watford dispossessed United in midfield, and that man Decore again with a sweet strike forces a save and the push round from De Gea. On 37 minutes then, a chance for Danny James. But again he's wide of the mark, and a minute later Fred set up to strike, but his effort just went over the bar. We got a minute 40 now, and a great United move. Release Fernandez, who's put through, just the goalkeeper to beat, and he went round Foster, but Foster decided to clip his legs. Over he went. Obvious penalty kick, and the Portuguese stepped up and with nonchalant confidence sent Foster the wrong way and put the ball in the net, and so that was 1-0. United just about edging it. Another chance on 45 to Fernandez after a set up from Martial, but this time his effort went wide of Foster. So it was 1-0 at the break. So second half action then, Pearson had obviously had a few strong words with Watford in the dressing room, and they came out all by guns blazing. And on 51 minutes it appeared they got their rewards. A corner on the right, and Dawson managed to get his head to the cross at the near post, and it sort of hit the post and then ricocheted up and went across goal, and Deeney was too strong, bundled the ball over the line. But then VAR had a look at it, and it appeared that Dawson had controlled the ball with his arm, and so it was chalked off. A few minutes later, a nice move down the left for James, who fed Greenwood, but his cross was clipped away for safety. And then on 58 minutes, a tremendous piece of individual brilliance. Following pressure from United, the ball on the left edge of the penalty area, Martial had been forced wide. Foster rushed out to block any attempt, and Martial managed to jig himself a yard, and he nonchalantly clipped the ball over the goalkeeper, who had got to his knees to try and block. It was a piece of absolute brilliance, and it went in the net, and the Stretford went wild, and it was 2-0 to the Reds. United on top now. 68 minutes. There were further chances for Greenwood, and another fierce cross from James that could have deserved the touch, and then another cross by Fernandez, who seemed to be running the show, was headed wide by Maguire. So Watford managed to survive that, but they couldn't do much about 74 minutes. A breathtaking move again involving Greenwood, Fernandes, and he clipped it back to Greenwood, who just inside the box, and he stepped to the left and hit a wicked shot with his left foot high and wide of Foster into the top corner, and that was 3-0, game over. Deulofeu had looked bright but no support. He clipped the crossbar on 76 minutes, suggesting that Watford still had a goal in them, but at the end of the day full time arrived, and it was a pretty comfortable win for the Reds, although it didn't start particularly well. So final score at Old Trafford: Manchester United 3, Watford 0. So to Molineux now. Wolves at home to bottom placed Norwich. Wolves coming off that 4-0 mauling that they delivered to Espanyol on Thursday, so their confidence was high. Traore was rested, he was on the bench with Neto, and Buendia continues to warm the bench for Norwich. Can't really work that one out because he looks one of their better players. Anyway, there was an earlier chance for Norwich for Pukki, but Patricio collected it fairly easily, and another shot by McLean for Norwich, but again lacked a little bit of confidence. Wolves then started to dictate play, and on 19 minutes Diego Jota, well, he'd scored a hat-trick against Espanyol, and he was up to it again. He shoots home after a great assist from Doherty, and that was 1-0 for Wolves. Teti then intervened to deny Jota's cross shot, so that was denied, and a second corner then from Dendolker at the back post, who headed it across the 6-yard box, and guess who was there? Jota again, and he pounced, and it was 2-0 to Wolves. They're looking very comfortable, and Norwich really struggling. And Neves' free kick was denied by Krul later in the half. So Wolves 2 up at the break, and Norwich really struggling. Into the second half then, Jota and Jimenez both linking well as usual, and Jota's shot ricocheted onto the post, and it rebounded to Jimenez, who strolled the ball home for 3-0. After that, the game was really over, and we got to the full-time whistle. Despondent Norwich, and Farkler looked exactly that on the touchline. Wolves, well, 7 goals in 2 games. They, after a drought of a couple of games, they're certainly back on form. So final score at Molineux: Wolves 3, Norwich 0. So final game on Sunday then was at the Emirates. Arsenal at home to Everton. Team news: Lacazette and Saka were on the bench with Guendouzi. Nketiah was in from the start. For Everton, Coleman and Michael Keane was there, with Moise Keane on the bench. And first appearance for Gomez after that horrendous leg break earlier in the season. Delph and Iwobi were in midfield for the Toffees. Early action, and it all got off to a very brisk start. Bearing in mind, Arsenal unbeaten in 8 and Everton only 1 loss in 11. In the first minute, a free kick, and Lewin took advantage of some sloppy defending and heads past Leno. 1-0. Time of the goal, 49 seconds. So Arsenal already on the back foot, but they managed to recover, and they managed to level the scores on 27 minutes. Saka managed to get a good cross in, and Nketiah with his studs managed to prod it home, and so we were back level 1-1. 6 minutes later, the Gunners went in front. Luis, a great through ball, found Aubameyang, and he slots it wide of Pickford, so it's 2-1. And the end to a gripping half in added time. Some more poor defending from the Gunners, and Richarlison scuffed it over the line. So we went to the break 2-2. So second half action then, we weren't expecting quite a repeat of the first, but it was still pretty good. And 1 minute in, we got our fifth goal. Aubameyang again connecting with his head from a Pepe cross. So the Gunners back in front. Calvert-Lewin had a shot from a few yards that Leno denied. But the pace did slow a little. 80 minutes, half chance for Lewin again from Richarlison, but it went wide. And then Nketiah managed to hit the bar in the last minute. So he's certainly coming on well for the Gunners. Anyway, Leonard got off his line to sort a dangerous free ball, and that was Everton's last chance. And Lewin headed wide in the last seconds. So the final score at the Emirates, Arsenal pinching this one by 3-2. A really good watch, I must admit, and Arsenal are looking better. So the final match then, week 27, on the Monday night game, Liverpool are home to West Ham. Oxlade-Chamberlain back on the bench now, Mane fit and back in the side. Fabinho in midfield alongside Chamberlain. Still no place for Lallana. For the Hammers, Lanzini and Haller were on the bench. Subic was in, and Antonio running the line up front. First real chance for Liverpool on 8 minutes. Arnold providing the cross as ever, and Wijnaldum got a strong header to the ball, but Fabianski, he got his hand to it and really should have done better, but it went in the corner anyway. Goalkeeping error to be sure. So Liverpool 1 up. Diop then headed in a Snodgrass corner on 11 minutes, and the same problem. Alisson should have done better at his near post. He looked rather slow, so it was level 1-1. 15 minutes, Salah's shot was tipped over by Fabianski, and then at 38 minutes, an Arnold through kick was deflected through the wall and went inches wide. But that was the score at the break, 1-1. And West Ham deserved that, to be honest. Liverpool weren't at their best. Into the second half, and early pressure from the Reds, a couple of half chances, and then on 54 minutes, amazingly West Ham took the lead. Rice's cross was connected by Fornals. He swept it in. It looked a bit messy, but it went past Alisson, and Liverpool were trailing by 2-1. Could the unexpected really happen? Could their unbeaten record go? Well, as anticipated, it was all Reds after that. On 67 minutes, Robertson on the left, and his cross was met by Salah, and a strong effort from Salah, but a dreadful error again by Fabianski. It went sort of through his hands and legs, and so the Reds were back level. That was just the momentum they needed, and it looked a question of when rather than if. Salah at the far post, and his flick was scooped wide and over by the goalkeeper. But on 80 minutes, a deflection from Gomez went out to the right touchline. Arnold picked it up and flicked it back into the centre, and the cross was met by Mane, and he finished it off. And so, not surprisingly, Liverpool had taken the lead, and it was 3-2. 5 minutes later, Mane almost did the identical and put the ball in the net again, although this was a more conventional cross by Arnold. But this time, Mane's leg was a fraction offside, so VAR chalked it off. We got to the final whistle. West Ham pressing for the equaliser, but it just didn't come. So another win for the Reds. They won this game by 3-2. So that's our summary of the week 27. Just to say that Liverpool's win means that they've met the top line record of 18 successive wins that Man City set between August and December in 2017. Amazing stuff, really. They're rewriting the record books, this team, and I thought I'd never get to see another Liverpool team that could be put on a par with the team that dominated in the 80s. So they're at the top, 79 points, a massive 22 points ahead of City, who are 7 in front of Leicester, and Chelsea 6 back in the 4th place. Man United, of course, are in 5th, 1 point ahead of Spurs and Sheffield United. At the bottom, it's much the same. West Ham, although spirited effort, remain in the bottom 3, on goal difference above Watford, with Norwich trailing in their wake. In 17th for Villa on 25, Bournemouth 1 up 26, and Brighton in 15th are on 28th on 28 points. Newcastle on 14th, but they've got a bit of buffer. They're on 31. So goals of the week. Well, I jotted down 4 that I thought were in contention. Alonso's second effort, beautiful team goal, but a great finish against Spurs. The Van Aanholt free kick for Palace that sunk Newcastle, and the Martial delicate chip to put United on their way, second goal. But I'm going to give it to Stevens, Sheffield United's goal in their match against Brighton. A vicious left foot drive that whistled past Ryan before he had time to blink. That's my goal of the week. Now, we will be doing a results show on Wednesday to summarise the UEFA Champions League, and I'll be also doing a slight prediction for the outcome of the second legs. So that's your lot.